The ruler of a country in eastern India invited the 27th ancestor, Hanyatara, to a mid-morning meal. The ruler asked him, "Why don't you read the sutras?" The ancestor replied, "This poor follower of the way, when breathing in, does not dwell in the realm of skandhas, and when breathing out, is not caught up in the many externals. Always do I thus turn 100,000,000,000,000,000 rolls of sutras." So, yes, this poor follower of the way. Who is this poor follower of the way? When breathing in, does not dwell in the realm of skandhas, and breathing out is not caught up in externals. This ruler invited Hanyatara, or Prajnatara, as we say in our lineage chant, to a mid-morning meal. The ancestor didn't read sutras. Was it like asking a priest to come and they didn't say grace? What happened here? What's going on? Was the ruler expecting just a chanting of by formality, or was he interested in something else? So he did ask a question. His question opened up. He says, "Why aren't you chanting the sutra? Something's wrong here. Why aren't you chanting the sutra?" We don't really know what was in this ruler's mind. The story is old. It was collected later in the Book of Equanimity by Hongji, and about 1,000 years after Prajnatara lived. Prajnatara was said to be the teacher of Bodhidharma, and may have been a man or a woman. We also don't know that. The important thing here is why, the question, why? What's up with it? Why aren't we chanting the sutra like we just did? We just did the Heart Sutra. So this teacher, this great teacher, who's probably at that time like the Dalai Lama or the head of the Soto School or something, you have a really great, renowned teacher coming to mid-morning meal, and something's up. So why would this person just come and sit and start eating? So we ask the question, why? Why is that? Why didn't he follow the formula at the time if that's what was going on? And then Prajnatara says what to me is a fundamental description of Zazen. Breathing in, then breathing out. Not holding on, not pushing away. Witness everything as it is. Letting things go. We hear this all the time. This is like Zazen 101, but it's really Zazen infinity. It's good for our entire lives. So the next thing Prajnatara says about this, what is this breathing in? So now our questions are coming. What is this breathing in and out and not being caught or dwelling or hanging on? What is this? And Prajnatara says, always. Do I thus turn 100,000,000,000,000 rolls of sutras? These are the sutras. We are breathing these sutras. The teachings are always present. As we say in the Gatha on opening the sutra, the Dharma is always encountered and rarely perceived. Do I see that? Do we see that? Do we see our whole life is sutra, whether we're aware of it or not? We turn the countless sutras of our lives. Like those big prayer wheels in Tibet or India, we turn the sutras in every breath. The sutra of being who we are. The sutra of being afraid. The sutra of outrage with injustice. Of expressing joy. Helping a neighbor. Coming to the Zen center. Having a good meal. Or sitting in complete stillness. Becoming one with that breath. Years ago, I was turning a sutra of deep psychological pain. My daughter, Rishi, had stopped speaking with me for a few years. No explanation. I left on a road trip to Arizona where I last knew she had gone. On arrival, I camped up in the mountains above Tucson and sat zazen every day until I felt ready, until I felt the courage rising in me, until I could unite that with my breath to go into the city and look for her. I walked to the last address I had. The house was shuttered and abandoned, and my heart sank. And yet I reached into my feet, into the ground, into the sidewalk, into the earth for the courage I needed for the next step. I asked the person next door, the next house over, and showed her a picture. This woman answered the door, kindly face. Without hesitation, when she saw the picture, she said, "Yes, I've seen her. She's still in the neighborhood." So by then, my heart is beating. It's practically in my throat, just the excitement and wondering what's going to happen. And will I find her? So, like all good stories, she told me 3 places to look. I don't know why that is in stories, but it happened in my life too. On the 3rd place I went to, I found her. She was working in the Kasbah, a tea house that traveled with the Grateful Dead part of the year. For the next few days, we had a fine reunion. We even worked a shift together in the Kasbah. She gave me her cat that she couldn't keep, and I went on to see my parents in Weed, California, because my father wasn't well. And Rishi went on to Ohio with a boyfriend. Once again, she stopped speaking. No explanation. Returned letter saying, "Don't contact me for 10 years." It wasn't 10 years. I heard from her again because her father died suddenly in Japan. She phoned me and voiced her many grievances, some true, some not. I chose not to argue, just listen, just witness what it is she's feeling and saying and what she wants to convey to me. I felt I needed to do this. I didn't want to give up the relationship, so I remained steadfast, fire from her. When I got off the phone, I felt all the suppressed and held back emotions, all those troubled years, the collapsed ideas of who I was as a mother, a wife, a woman professional, a single mother, provider, and who Rishi was as a daughter. The ideas I had about what's a good daughter, all of that collapsed. It was extremely painful, more pain than I had ever felt. Because I had at that point been sitting zazen, especially in sesshin, through so many conditions, I stayed put. I used that discipline to not turn away from it. Felt like it wasn't just my pain, that it was the shared pain of our relationship. I can't describe what happened next. It's simply that full immersion, that being present to that pain, not turning away from it, staying steady with it. A shift occurred. I only know it occurred after. The staying in it was in itself my life at that moment. We agreed to get together in LA. I came to visit. At first, the conversation was raw and uber sensitive. We were both being very careful. So I knew she also wanted to reunite. And in time, it didn't take long. We revived the warmth, the fun, the stories, the insights that had marked so many years of our life together before the estrangement. And no, it's not happily ever after. We still go on. We work with the relationship. Each time, finding that fresh start, that fresh breath, finding what's true for each other, me for her, and she reciprocating in her way. I don't know exactly how her way works, but we do this together. We're still working on it. How long does this go on? To the last breath in life? Yes. Yes. This koan of breathing in and breathing out is a lifetime practice. About 2 years ago, my friend Marion Moore announced to her yoga class that she had cancer and didn't want to talk about it. And she pushed her friends away. But she called me. She said, "Will you be with me when I die?" I dropped everything to be with her. It was in the early part of the pandemic, and I quarantined for 2 weeks, then moved into her house. I shared caretaking with her husband. Marion was a mathematician, yoga teacher, dancer, and climate activist, and she was well loved in the community. People just were all over themselves trying to help her, and she didn't want it. She wanted to be sequestered in her home, and she wanted me, I felt, as her witness to this end of her life. She wanted my assistance. I fed her, walked and fed her dogs, cleaned, gave her medications, fended off well-meaning people in the best way I could. I looked after her husband, who was weighed down with depression. The most important thing was sitting with her. We sat together every day. She in her tradition, me in mine. At this stage, the tumors were in her colon, lungs, and brain, and she was very weak. She had neuropathy in her feet and shingles in her shoulder, and had difficulty resting or sleeping. We continued to sit together, and I gave her every single day silent, therapeutic touch. It was very light, a lot of close above the skin, slow and tender, as I witnessed everything changing in her body. She was usually able to drop into a deep rest after that, after sitting in touch, until one day she couldn't. She was agitated, upset about not being able to walk her dogs or practice yoga or travel with her husband. So many things. I asked if she would like me to help her move her legs. I got up on the bed and stood at her feet, picked up her legs and moved them for her as if she were walking. She felt like it was climbing a mountain. We spontaneously called out back and forth about walking up the mountain, up to the snows, seeing people, temples, hearing bells, horns, birds. It was joyous and came unbidden, like poetry can come into our heart. We laughed and played, I don't know how long, but we did. It was wonderful, joyous. She breathed more deeply than I'd seen in the past few weeks. And then she began to work through the full range of her distress, all that had been held back, all that she could not share with those who were closest to her. She began grieving for the life she loved and the life she sometimes hated. It's all there. She expressed her anger, how sick she was of her husband, though she loved him, her disappointment in her son who had stopped talking to her. And all through her relatives, friends, past partners, through her life. And I sat with her, witness, breathing with her in witness, hearing without interfering, simply hearing, just witnessing. As she let go, she became more peaceful. She could rest, and her breathing became more normal. Her awareness expanded. When Marion's brother arrived, we helped her pick out the dress she wanted to be buried in. And it had been her wedding dress. Soon she stopped eating, became skeletal, fingers of her hands becoming long and curling, darkening at the tips. She was on oxygen and morphine, shallow breathing, dropping in and out of consciousness, yet peaceful. Up until the third to the last day, she could still recognize me and say my name very softly, Diana. And it touched me to the core. No one witnessed the final exhale in the night except her two dogs, who kept vigil at her feet. Her body was bathed and put in the lacy white dress. Marion's brother and I were co-officiants at her funeral. He offered ceremony from his Native American tradition. They were part Osage, and I spoke words for her as I best knew her, facing death, fully human, and just herself. She was real, and we could see her through the lightweight shroud. We placed her in the soft, dark earth that smelled of damp, rotting leaves. It felt like planting a garden. We lovingly watered it with our tears and prayers and smoke of incense and sage. Her body now feeds the big leaf maple that spreads its leaves over her grave. Its sutras joining all sutras. I'll leave you with this poem by Joy Hartel. In a misty dawn, at the center of the world is the morning star, tending cattle at the other side of this fence. Several years away, you can see smoke from a hogan where an old man is cooking his breakfast. He has already been outside to pray. Recognize the morning star and his relationship to it as he stands at the center of miracles. Ah, there is a verse with this koan, and I've asked Kaiko to recite it.
And low embracing its sea, blood and horse raised in the spring, unfettered and free, beneath its brow to chill I was me to read sutras as though listening outside bright white night and sends back over testament enclosure, the subtle round altars marvelous activity when comes on forget the road whence he little who will lead him by hand and is word for straight strength, unpleasure, and you then round to chill blue eye. Want me to be suicide as though piercing outside, bright white line transcends past all of a hero's strength.
If I cited the sentence, please return the Shuso spell.
The subtle round of old times are
Everyone on the other side, return the Shuso spell.
When comes on forget the road when he is so you will be him. My hand to return. The inexhaustible lions roar.
How will you use this ship?
Freely. Keep in line and taking it away. Right in.
And if you can unmute the computer itself. On the top bar.
This is a 3-foot long black snake. A long time ago, it was a kumpura flower at Mount Buddhakuta. At Mount Shorin, it became a plum blossom. Sometimes it transforms into a diamond sword with freedom to kill and give life. Right now, in accord with the order of my teacher, it lives in my hands. I feel like a mosquito trying to bite an iron bowl. However, being assigned as head trainee, I have to fulfill my duties. Now, all you dragons and elephants in this Dharma hall, confront me in Dharma combat. Kaiku, you go first.
Attention, Shuso. This ancestor that you speak of, is he rich or poor?
this ancestor is rich in the most wonderful way by being poor, not clinging to anything.
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Jisho is next.
Attention. What do you say to someone who does like to read the sutras?
I say, Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. We can read the sutras. We're breathing the sutras. We can read them or not read them. It's what comes, what's needed in the moment.
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Mushin. And maybe repeat the questions in case the folks at home can't hear from that mic.
Much is written about the skandhas and their role in creating delusion. Can we flip that? Is there maybe one bit that you could show us of how now knowing the skandhas can set us free?
Yeah. May your life go well.
All right.
Attention. What does the bird know as it flaps its wings into the air and then glides through the big sky?
Can you say it again?
Sure. What does the bird knows as it flaps its wings into the air and then glides through the big sky? Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Jane.
Attention. If the Dharma is always encountered, why do we forget? Why don't we always perceive?
That is the number one question.
Let's see if folks can hear the question.
Oh, can repeat it for people?
Or just see if ask folks.
Can you hear the questions, people online?
Yeah.
They can. Okay. Why can't we? Well, we can. It's practice. Practice. Let's do it together. Let's breathe. Come on.
If you're satisfied with your answer, you say thank you for your answer.
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Attention, Shuso. What was the last sutra you recited?
Last sutra. At the end of session. Yeah. Last sutra, last sutra. Oh my God, it's here.
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Seijo.
Attention. Shuso. My little dog just breathes in and out. Doing so, does she turn the sutra rolls?
If I had a tail, I'd wag it.
Thank you for your answer.
Your life go well.
Yoshin.
Should I read my poem? or ask a
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry. I thought you had signed up for a question. No? You don't have to. Sorry. I thought we...
That's fine. So 90 days. What do you got to show for it?
Nothing.
May your life go well.
May your life go well.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you too.
Anzan.
Attention, Shuso. What is the highest, most precious sutra?
That's about 5'1", maybe. How tall are you?
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Ari.
Attention, Shuso. If this ancestor is a poor follower of the way, how did they get to become an ancestor?
Oh, they died. This ancestor spoke the words we need. This ancestor gave us the words we live by. Someone recorded it. We live it.
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Echo Sensei.
Attention, so, these 100 million billion world people, how old are they?
Not a second ago. Maybe? No? No, not a second ago. They're now.
Well, let me ask you this. So, we all take our first breath. When was the first breath of you speak?
I don't know.
Thank you for your answer.
May your life go well.
Laura.
Attention, Shuso. If the turning of the breath teaches us everything we need to know, then what is the value?
It's breath also. May your life go well. May your life go well. Being immature and insufficient in training. I wasn't expecting to be assigned Shuso, that's for sure. I feel as if a crime has been committed, which fills the heavens, and there isn't a place on earth for me to hide. I hope there's enough water in the Pacific for you to rinse out my words from your ears.
sea?
Water flows and returns to the sea.
Now, all the same maps of the Same again.
Turn your Shusos down on the side. The other side, turn the Shusos down.
So we'll now have congratulatory poems and verses, starting with our last Shuso, Jisho.
You sat for 3 months, from morning till night. You chanted, did Samu, you did it just right. You built up some merit from your time in the yurt, even though at times different body parts hurt. Your dedication's inspiring, your practice is true. Happy Shuso Hosen, congratulations.
There is no sound.
How about now?
Yay.
She should read her poem again.
Yeah, so we're doing congratulatory poems, and first up is Shuso.
You sat for 3 months from morning to night. You chanted, did samu, you did it just right. You built up some merit from your time in the yurt, even though at times different body parts hurt. Your dedication's inspiring, your practice is true. Happy Shuso Hosen, congratulations to you.
And Seijo, you're next.
Dear Kosei, like monks of old, you traveled north and south. Oh, what good fortune that your solitary star led you to this little temple where the sweet water flows. Deepest gratitude.
Now it's me. Kosei, a driverless van pulls up to come home. Decades of legacy left on the road. Not a word uttered, the sutras extolled. Just an uneven walk down uneven stone. I'm honored to play a role in your intention. Here's to your growing sweet watershed redemption. And Kyoshin, I think.
Oh dear. Just to follow all these poetic people. I'm going to take this off for a minute so you can probably hear me better. Dear Kosei, what can be said of what threads together, breathing in and breathing out? Even the Sutra Pitaka, the basket of the teachings, cannot capture this mysterious field, from which arises, which is nothing but the billions of sutras, breathed in and breathed out. For 90 days, Kosei has chanted sutras, sat zazen, served the Sangha. Clearly, not for one moment has the Dharma missed its mark in breathing her in and out. Congratulations.
Shinzan Sensei.
Hello. Congratulations, dear Kosei, and thank you for your wonderful and heartfelt Dharma talk, and also so joyful Dharma combat. Showing up in your relationships, it was chanting the Sutra of Life, breathing in, breathing out. If I skandhas appear and disappear, you are a Buddha walking the way. Thank you.
Echo Sensei.
Shuso, wow, thank you so much. What a great example you have shown us. I really appreciate your model and support. So here's a poem. Nothing matters all the time. Your seamless breath has sown a beautiful path. The sutras are breathing your life. Thank you.
And Seisen Roshi.
Dear Kosei, cleaning the kitchen, welcoming a new practitioner, creating a painting, hours of zazen, moment by moment, 100,000 million billion turnings of the sutra. Congratulations.
May this dana be extended to all sentient beings, and may our sincere vows to accomplish the Buddha way be realized together. Throughout space and time,
Congratulations, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Shinzan. Yay.